this is my grouse with the government, with our electors. Any policy that the center initiates, we accept it blindly, because we know that we are corrupt. If we kick back a little also, they will come after us. Say oil palm. KTP, they were against the oil palm cultivation, but they accepted wholesale. And earlier, when this highway was being built in the Pagla Pahar, we call it, China had also, our friend Mr. Rokoso, he objected to the use of diamond. But our government just allowed them, and what's happening? Just recently, one truck driver died again. I think how many deaths have taken place there? So things like this, and education is supposed to be in this concurrent list. So where the state has a voice also. So it is very frustrating when our leaders do not fight for the benefit of a society. So I want you to understand that all these affect our future. And all these are means of promoting the self-interest. Say, universities in Bihar, UP, you can get 10% marks also. You come with that and you come in from a tough university, and automatically you are disqualified. I mean, not disqualified, but automatically you have to lose the chance of access to employment. So things like this, I don't know how we're going to solve it, but say NPSC, if we have a common test, then we don't have to go through written tests and this. No, just leave it.
I would defer Professor Tan here. The problem with many students when we go to the central universities outside, we have a problem with articulation. We're good in written, but we struggle to come on par with our counterparts from other regions across the country. So articulation becomes a problem for many, not for all of them. And in interviews, what happens is if you president universities, they go for interview, mainly interview. However, there's also a requirement for referees. So we have recommendations from professors. So there's a competition there. So people with good references, it's easier for them to get the job. Whereas people who don't have, or less reputed professors, it's difficult for you to get a job. And then another thing is there is also possibility for manipulation in interviews. The one time we gave an interview for one whole college, I gave the interview as a contract advertisement with both my juniors and my seniors. We were all there. It was like a reunion. But finally, when the results came out, all of us were questioning on what basis the candidate was selected. So we filed an RTI to check all our marks. So there's a section for subject expertise, there's one for personality. And in personality, there's a difference of like someone like 12, someone like 13. So what is it that makes a person get 13 for personality? So we feel that written, a higher percentage of written will be more fair rather than interview. That's our opinion.
Question paper leak has become is BJP's misery today. Everywhere there are question paper leaks. And the NPSC, ladies and gentlemen, we're very honest, they got heavily passed. In fact, some of the NPSC officials and staff were also arrested in the past, not very distant past. This for leakage of question papers and things like that. So, the interviews may be very good, but somebody may score very high at the written examinations. But that's a thought. The Supreme Court has also started getting this thing online, their proceedings. So then we should also think on those lines. What's so confidential about the LPs?
NPSC. National Public Service Commission is so outdated again. See, See, we got started very long back, so till today, NPSC does not have subject experts. And in the beginning, I thought that NPSC has the sole power. But after so many years of fighting for corruption, what I learned was NPSC is just a robot. When the elected members press button, yes, will be yes, no will be no. They're just implementing bodies. And they themselves also, they don't want to get updated. Our Nagaland is such that I'm sure most of you knows, really, all the exams that are conducted under NPSC, we don't have subject experts to set questions for Common Educational Service, Combined Technical Service, NCAs, all those exams, whichever is conducted, questions are set by outsiders. You know that? Pusat Diro, company kumagi, questions set na Diro, ibigay na Juliso. And so from our side, we have requested them to, I think now it's high time that NPSC should be updated. It's high time you should have subject experts in every field because we have enough qualified people. Huli, mun subject BI to last year NPSC website hang kusi jana na. Aro mian form fill up website hang kusi jana NPSC hang na. That is the problem that when I come with usually I end up pointing my fingers at the policymakers. They are the ones. See, policymakers, they are updating only their buildings and their size of plot of land. Update was I like to some classes. Honestly, I don't know when it comes to this marketing system, their marketing system really has interview remarks, manipulation, association like us, we fight against the government and we brought down the interview mark also. Earlier it was 75, it is 55 in NCS. I'm sure all of you know. Because we didn't trust the interview mark, but we know. That's when we brought it down. Yet marketing system was a common educational service exam marketing system to take night that we feel because kumbaga university and high marks kumbaga strict mark to confuse na thakero. Example like one engineering at the example like my college, it's very difficult to score mark. Now really for common technical exam they will not like academic nothing. Writing really common education to mark the system as well. And now how can this be changed? Only if the department service rule is changed. And who is going to bring the change? The elected members. And that is the reason I always blame put my fingers against them. Because they have to update their mind also.
나가는데 하이코트에 자기가 사이시 보려도 다들 cases country are more than 90% of the cases are of the service rules. Nagaland High Court cases, more than 90%.
We felt hopelessness that it's a systemic issue, right? Regardless of whatever you do, something or the other will not work. So I think we have to talk about how to make it more objective in the form of competition or recruitment process. And you have mentioned the mission, engineering that I mentioned that they have been fighting to reduce interview mark and they managed to do that a little bit. But still, interview is still very subjective. It's open to interpretation or it's open to it can lead to manipulation. It's not only based on someone's judgment. I think for that matter, that I think for me, to my mind, that's well accepted. Now the point also comes to it's also a big concern for the fact that what if we make it very objective in a sense in the process of recruitment that we end up like recruiting UPSC and NPSC aspirants, civil service aspirants. That all. Meantime, I support the idea that yes, we need objectivity in the process of recruitment. But what if we end up UPSC recruitment style, which becomes more objective, and there's no way it can be disputed in many cases, right? It's very, very objective. There's no much room for misinterpretation or manipulation and such. But what for an academic position, if it comes down to such objectivity and what if we reduce the quality of teaching. I think that's a concern that I want to raise. I would like to understand and hear from you how you will interpret that. Yes, for now we understand that we have a system problem. The system has to change and it will take time. But I think at least what you are demanding at this time is requisition. At least, it may not be 100% fair and objective, but at least there's a system, and like Uncle Lee mentioned that we need to follow the due process, established process. I think requisition should happen by any means. Whether it's clean or not clean, let's forget at the time. But at least that process should be followed for now. But how do we reconcile the idea of maintaining objectivity in the recruitment process at the same time, not degrading the teaching quality? That's a very big concern for me as one who aspires to become academics as well in that sense.
I'm very heartened that our Nnqf and Ctan are fighting. But I have no faith in our elected leaders and our This is a fact. These people are so dirty, so petty. No. They have not done these things out of ignorance or out of a mistake. They have done it deliberately. And you have won a very big victory by forcing them to cancel the regularization. But they are never going to requisition into this. Because I believe that there are rumors floating around that every one of these 147 paid a certain amount of money. No. So whoever took the money has to give these people time to recover their money. So the only, in spite of my disappointments with the judiciary, the only option is to get the courts to intervene and force them to requisition this post. Since they can regularize them, why can't they requisition the post? They cannot say that these are sanctioned posts, non-sanctioned posts, nothing like that. So that is my take. And regarding NPSC, see, interviews are very subjective. My brother, when he appeared, he interviewed in 1982. Even their tribalism was very prevalent. So he got into an argument with one of the members of the NPSC, and the chairman, who was a Sikh gentleman, he intervened and told the member that we are not here to question his knowledge of the subject. That has already been done in the written thing. He said we're just here to test his personality. So things like that. I don't think any of you people didn't bother to read my manifesto when I contested the elections. But in my manifesto, I wrote clearly that in every competitive exam, the candidate will have the right to compare his written answer script with those of others, and every interview will be video recorded. See, one of my young lady friends, she appeared in the social welfare day for not for regular job, but for contracting. He just asked her name and sent her on the way. And in fact, she was told in advance, no point trying for it. It's already been evaluated. So things like that, you have to understand. But as I said earlier, I believe our only recourse is legal. So, if any of you know anybody in the legal fraternity who is willing to take up the space, I've also tried contacting some people in the process of and that is the way. Because these people I don't trust.
There's no doubt at all. But I think, I personally feel that if I were in the position, not out of any ill will, I'll do a much worse job. Because everything is new that we're trying to do, and we have very little background resilience. I'll say this fellow has a lot of resilience because of his background. Because this guy is later. But I think that is why so many things are done wrong. Just because we don't know how to do differently. I feel that we are witnessing a huge thing that your group has brought together like this. A few years ago, we couldn't get a group like this, especially of young people. Just because I think they were not, I don't know, you know so many things now, and so you're so smart now, I'll honestly say. So well informed because of the information technology, IT, and all that is, you're grasping them and you're benefiting from it. And so such a group, I've never seen a group like this. That's so alert, showing such interest. So I feel that I would like to appeal to all of you that don't give up at all to make this better and better. This process that you are part of, led by this group who have voted to be, don't leave it to them to work it out. It's going to become very difficult, very difficult. And I don't think you will give up, but I make this such a plea. Jean Monnet, he was the international bureaucrat, economist, lawyer and everything, Frenchman. And he was regarded as the man who created the European Union. With Chancellor Adenauer of Germany and Robert Schuman. Chancellor, he was Prime Minister, and Robert Schuman was a Foreign Minister and Prime Minister eventually of France after the Second World War. It was a terrible time of complete destruction of Europe and the world. And so they said, how do we make sure the Third World War doesn't come? And so it's a long story, but he's thinking, he's far-seeing wisdom, and from his own destiny.
We have not been able to handle the alien system that has been put on certain us. So when we talk about corruption, of course there are intentional ways to corrupt the system, but there can also be, say, unintentional ways where the system will be corrupt. You know, there was a time when our uncles and my fathers would say that there is a job offer. They used to be called to come for a job. You know, so maybe following that tradition, maybe people were called, people that you know were appointed, and maybe it became, in the modern stage, it became the corruption that we see now. But we also have to look at it, understanding that it is a transition that we have not been able to handle properly. So corruption can also be seen as intentional as well as unintentional. And regarding the quality of recruitment that we're been discussing, I think if we are able to set the system right, then quality will eventually come out. So I think the priority is to set the system right, to continue not to give up. So yes, we are able to structure the system the way we want. The quality will eventually follow.
So I would like to hear your thoughts, again, I think, for the benefit of our audience and all of us. It's a daylight violation of the Article 16 of our Constitution, which talks about equal opportunity mandatory in public employment. I think the public seems to be not paying much attention. And when you have lost your hope on NDSC, when you have lost your hope in any other government machineries, what solution do we have to resolve the several issues, knowing fully well that it's against and violating the constitutional values of India? So I mean, it will be nice to listen to all of you on this side as well. What solution do you have? I mean, anyone will say, yeah.
It was 2020 December when the lockdown was relaxed. I was invited to speak. I was invited by the Northeast Human Rights Network. So they asked me to speak at Quadi. I went there. There were quite a number of young Naga people sitting. So what I said was, Nagaland, when you look at Nagaland from the outside, there are so many tribes. Now we see it divided in many ways, but among the common people, we don't have tribes. Okay, we accept inter-tribe marriage, all that. It is only when we reach the upper levels that tribalism manifests itself. Why? Because our leaders, you have to understand this, okay? Our leaders, they use tribalism to deprive us of our rights. Among them, they have got a very good system. Give and take. There is no tribalism among members. But they create tribalism among us. And I said, in a normal society, there is the government of the day, there is the civil societies, the church, the organized criminal element, and the media. Now, our churches, our government, our civil societies are all corrupt. Our underground factions have become the organized criminal element in Nagaland. There is no mafia, but we have multiple mafias in the form of our NNPGs. And our media has become silenced, threatened, or co-opted. So when I said that, all the Nagas, they clapped. Because they understood. And this is what is happening. We have to understand that we are no longer in the head-hunting stage. That we don't have to fear other villagers, people from other villages, people from other lands, people from other tribes. We have to put our faith in the law of the land, not in our tribal bodies or in our village. You come to Dimapur and you will see the amount of unions, the amount of village bodies, the amount of churches. It is shocking. And then we talk about government corruption, we talk about underground extortion, we don't talk about the extortion of the churches. The churches are equally corrupt. So we don't have any moral compass. We have lost the moral compass. We don't know what is right, what is wrong. Now, where does this originate from? The origin is in our choice of our leaders. The reason I entered politics was because of this. I understood that the cause of all these problems is our elected leaders. As I said last time in my thing, I addressed you when you were protesting, I'm a private person. I don't like to go around. You may not believe me when you see me speaking like this, but there was a time when I could not stand in front of people and even open my mouth. But I have become what I am because of the need of the hour. I contested because I understood that this is the root of our problem. There's nobody to fight with them on the platform. All I asked was a platform. When they cannot ignore me, they ignore me. Everybody knows me, okay? I am never invited to any talks. I'm never invited to participate in any discussion on any issue. I once asked one of the members of the Nagaland TV Federation to take me. When the state government invited all these organizations to discuss the municipal election, over to the reservation or not. So that elder to me said, don't you trust me? I said, no, I trust you. But I know you. You will go to Kohima, you will just sit silently when these people say whatever they want. You will come back and you will take your silence as consent. He agreed to take me, but again, I was not informed, I was not thinking, and I'm not.
And requisition part, I won't agree with our strategy. Because by any means it has to go. Requisition done, I will department like visual identity. Now, my tutor will requisition to Jawalagi. Or for us to, of course, sir, we don't have money for court case. So, our court case, actually, government court case, chances. Our demand already, our certificate has already stated that lack of teachers is a particularly some colleges state. So the court case is our demand. Because requisition to G, one is we have the evidence with us. Of course, 100% evidence were only equal to the issue of school. Earlier, the minister lied to us 2 times. Man convinced we are not team man revoke we were education man ko business man personally look person aro revoke we do ngam sebelum rena man continue with this or they were compared to revoke. Now when we are saying that the position has to go, if there is a post creation, that also for the post of assistant professors. If I am not mistaken, assistant professors can necessarily do EAC, TSC, and UPC. With the TSC, we can so in that post, actually the number of posts was 151. Only 147 became popular by himself. Even our minister, he started calling himself 147 to 9. Time is over, was there. Now, requisition has to go. Why we are saying this is, earlier the department and the department officials and the ministers were claiming that 151 posts were specially created for those 151 very special people. Okay, that is what they claim. So, according to them, if that order is revoked, 151 posts is also dissolved. Wrong, they were saying that there is no post creation. As per the RTI, yeah, they are slowly admitting to their mistake. After post creation, which was said, RTI replies, after post, think to regularize the date, 17 December 2024. It will be the after create news. Put to the regular was 147 day. Put to the after post creation, that is what they are saying. 8 posts. But what we saw when we had a meeting with the minister, he was showing me a copy. I requested him whether I could click the picture or not. He didn't allow me. So we put a smart later. So what I found was there was a post of 129 posts. 129 posts. And after that, when we had a meeting with the deputy chief minister also, Deputy Chief Minister, KG meeting with the ex-official director exchange. So when we said that we saw a letter, 129 post-section at exchange, our Deputy CM asked the ex-official director, she agreed, she agreed, so it has to go very easy. But we don't know what you do. Of course, one time you fight to tell to us but still they will not keep quiet, but requisition has to go.
Duties, then we will not protest also. And then we don't know when the court will bring its verdict. So I think it's quite risky. Once the matter goes to the court, then for us it's no use of sitting and discussing. So we will not have any more thing to discuss about it.
So if 50%, we managed to let the government revoke a very bad case, and if the government doesn't requisition these posts to the NPSC, I think the Ctan and Nnqf should protest again. And maybe this time we might get more support to this. Because maybe I'm seeing a number of people growing. Everybody is fed up with the antics of the government. So, think of a process. It's a democratic form. is a democratic right. It's nothing against democracy.
And or visualize any other solution in case requisition does not happen. Because you have no trust with government machinery at this point of time at all. So imagining that the requisition does not happen at all, despite the silent and peaceful protest that you have been holding. And they will not listen. So can it go on like this forever without any time limit? So that doesn't complete my point. That would be same as fighting the case in the court, because we're scared that if we start fighting the case in the court, the time will be gone, and students will need to be taught, will always lose their time. But if the protest keep on going like this without listening to one another, will it be the same? That's something. So let's think about that.
By any means, since the movement has started, so by any means, the requisition has to be done. That is one thing. But even if requisition is done, doesn't mean that the matter ends there. You know, the war will still continue. So the government also should know that yes, they saw the sentiments, the emotions of the people, of the children. That time we saw leaders telling them, "Oh, you please go home. Jai Jabe, Jai Jabe." No, we will not go. We will not go. The anger did not still come out. But the government should not provoke the anger of the youngsters.
Why have we seen civil society organizations still in the fact? I don't know if my friend will recall when we met Governor Ravi for last time. So I was telling after that we should don't give too much importance of civil societies, especially the private ones. Because these people are puppets of the politicians and the governments. Then I asked Robert, what about the radio? He said, just in a humorous way. So that is why our civil societies are getting silent. Because they owe their positions to these people in power who are fighting against. And regarding why did the church remain silent? The church is always silent. My nephew, he's a principal of one of our leading theological colleges. And in his presence, we were discussing something, and I said, don't mistake the church for God. Okay, we tend to think that talking ill of the church or the theologians will somehow bring the wrath of God upon us. The last time Mr. Ruben and I, we had an interaction on this show. Somebody told me that somebody is writing something. He had it more than 1 month back. But anyway, somebody was still writing something. And somebody had written that I will be cursed or something like that because I speak out against theologians. So, we have to understand, we have to pressure our churches. They are the moral compass. That is the duty of the church. It is not to preach on Sundays. I tell my believers, hey, God is not going to take attendance. He's not going to count how many Sundays you pray to church. He's not going to see how long you pray, how beautifully you sing. He's going to judge by your deeds. So, it's high time we understood that all these are part of each other. They have a symbiotic relationship of corruption. And that is why we have 20, okay, now 4 of them have merged. So we have around 22 freedom fighting groups. Can you imagine? And all of them are connected. During the UNP elections in Dimapur, when I was interviewed, I told them, okay, you vote for whoever you want, don't go for anyone connected with the undergrounds. I think more than half of them are connected with the undergrounds. Don't go for anyone who's connected with corrupt officials. The remaining half are connected with the corrupt officials. So, this is is what we have to understand. We should not hold any expectation, false expectation on others. It is down to you. You decide. And my suggestion was a legal route, but if you have to go to the protest, I will stand by you. And you have to understand, each and every one of you must stand and be confident. Nobody else is going to help you of your own volition. You have to force it. So, God willing, if you protest loudly and well enough, you will force the government or the churches or the civil societies to act.
Yeah, please.
I would like to say that I think the church has not been silent. They have been quietly moving, not a very long view. Of course, as an organization, they have not been loud enough. I think they have played their role in, influencing us more. The fact that we're here, fighting for justice. Maybe you remember that there was a time there was a certain call for stand up for justice, and we raised that and we've been praying for us. So that debate also plays a part. And also the fact that there has been sermons in church, individual sermons where we have openly preached for justice, after the protests, tighten up protests. And also, there have been contractors of police, who have withdrawn their appointments, and I feel that is also a moral influence played by the church. So I see that the church is not silent. It is quiet to review and we, of course, welcome them loudly.
This just came to me. The NSF and the various civil bodies are also fighting for the same cause. And Nnqf and the Ctan were also using it, of course. And then Nnqf and the Ctan came over the tree and started in a big way. But the NSF also was from behind the scenes doing the same thing. So just wondering, maybe there's some case of dynamics, internal dynamics. This couldn't work out, but it would be such a more powerful body if you all were together. It's just a thought. And if, I don't know, maybe there's some internal dynamics, but if there's nothing like that, I think, it's not a good, not a bad idea to have a mediator working between so that pressure comes together for bigger group. But I'm leaving it to you because you know what's happening recently. I don't know.
When our higher education ministers say, backdoor big condom, window big condom, ceiling bra heavily big condom. How can 5 candidates enter the service in 2025 without even screening as contract teachers getting regularized freely? Does anyone have any answer to that?
5 people were in the list.
No, that's wrong. It says 5 people getting recruited and getting regularized, getting recruited as a contract worker.
That is the level of corruption in our state. The way God is somebody talking about, hey, lawmakers in this area, and you blame with you, level is well like corruption. The rules, they make the rule, they don't follow the rule. Kita tu saya bicara, kita politis berapa bicara fisik ini saja. Really, so but we have to give an end to this. We have to know how to raise our voice music.
One thing that there are 5 candidates whose names are not named. Yeah, that's a news that we've also heard. So we filed the RTI recently, but even the RTI, those names have not come up. So it's very suspicious now that we're going to press forward on that.
The question is, after so many years of attaining statehood, why there is rampant corruption in Nagaland? Those sitting ministers and MLAs are well educated about unemployment scenario and are well-spoken people in public. Aren't they hypocrites? Are they deliberately doing it?
So now the university has a mandate. It's every central university is all universities are supposed to be autonomous. But central universities have full autonomy except those Delhi and those places where there are problems with the government. So we recruit, I'm a retired man. The Nagaland University recruits its own faculties and courses. It's not given the UPSC does not conduct any interviews, except for the union interviews. But I don't think the university has the mandate to conduct interviews for or intervene in this matter. But see, because I'm here, I was here when I was in university for the last 28 years, the NPSC never invited me for anything. And then many of my friends also say, what's the NPSC going to do? What are services? But this is up to them, because they have an agenda. So, I don't know. I don't think the university can intervene in any way. Because as told you always, this is not a government. But we can discuss this to see if anything that is happening. Because one good thing is that for this Nnqf, medical college in Kohima, because that medical college is affiliated to the Nagaland University, I was deputed as a member of the interview board. So there we ensured that everything is very clean, only the best got it. But if the government puts it into the policy for the Public Service Commission, that there should be a nominee from the Nagaland University, that is one way. So one good member from the Nagaland University can clean up, will not permit open corruption.
Should not the API score academic performance indicator as per UCC be included as one key evaluation criteria in fair recruitment processes?
It is for promotion of teachers. I don't think it should come into the recruitment process.
Okay.
But I skip one bit, the first question of the last question, the qualification of the Minister for Higher Education. In fact, I was, especially when I heard our GP, Mr. Kautoji, she was in Kohima with all of you during your protest. I wished even I were there. But I was bedridden. But then I thought, maybe I should also, maybe contribute to society by penning an article. So there in my article, probably to the second article, there I mentioned that the government should replace the minister by a highly qualified person. A qualified person should come as Minister for Higher Education. We're dealing with higher education. We cannot afford to have somebody without any qualifications come and guide the department. We look at some foreign countries like New Zealand, Australia, some places. The health minister is a doctor. The education minister is a retired or a professor. So we have these kind of people who run their countries, that's why their countries are so successful. If we go by wills and fancies and by party pressure, Nagaland will collapse. But at least let's not allow higher education to collapse. All of you, we are, Mr. Kauto has already assured you of his support. You have support of the KDB. And maybe I also join the fray. We can gather a lot of people who can support you. We will support you. But we need to see you stand up first.
Why does this corruption occur? Article 32, Constitutional Remedies, suo motu. I'm sure the question is like, why can't the court take this as a suo motu case, right? So, maybe, go.
See, in life, it's all a question of accountability. Okay? So India has become so corrupt because there is no accountability. It is not Nagaland. See, in China, you may insult China as much as you want. You may talk bad about it. But when they catch government officials, corrupt government officials, they shoot them. But here in India, you see a corrupt are enjoying life. So the Nagas, I keep saying this, Nagas have learned the worst of the Indians, but nothing, because they have very good aspects of Indians also, but none of them. Okay, traffic rules also we don't follow. Look at Mizoram. Look at Naga, especially Mopur. Look at, as we said earlier, churches also only offices, everybody wants to build houses, are underground factions. I am the first and only person who has called them financial freedom fighters. Yes, this is my articles, no? I came across one Facebook YouTube video of a beautiful place somewhere in one district, okay? You have all these lakes and islands or things, and you call this something. The owner is the leader of some underground faction. Our church leaders also. One old person was telling me about their pastor demanding a scorpio. I said, hey, Mr. Genders, we have moved to know us. No, this has become our way of life because there is no accountability.
Come to what you as an individual, I as an individual, how far I will obey the sense that something has to be done and say that, oh, there's somebody else to do it. No matter who you are, if you say what should be done at my level and my situation, I will fight like hell. The Russian writer, Nobel laureate Alexander Solzhenitsyn, in his acceptance speech of the Nobel Prize for Literature, he couldn't go to Sweden. His speech was modeled out and became viral all over the world. And in his speech he said, the light may come into the world and even dominate it, but not through me. The light may come into the world and even dominate it, but not through me. And he said, sometimes you will find that there's just one step where you're standing. And everything else is gone, corrupted and everything like Soviet Union at that time. But you say that where I'm standing, that is under my control, my responsibility, not through me. Then, if you give the crack of the avalanche, the big things will crack. But if you do not say that somebody else should do what should be done. Thank you very much.